Hey there, vinyl community. How's it going? I'm Gary, and this is Physical Format Rock and Roll. Thank you so much for tuning in. I wanted to do a contest video. There's so many of them have been floating around here lately. I've been trying to hit some of them as I go along, and I really wanted to do this one. This is for Robert. Robert's on my turntable, and he has a contest where he's trying to get to 700 subscribers, which he's already passed it. So congratulations on that. Uh, but anyway, he wants us, I will tell you here in a second, but I guess I just want to say something first about Robert. Really enjoy his channel quite a bit. I watch him a lot. I try to always comment when I watch. I can't always keep up. It takes me a while. Sometimes I got to do a few of them in a row because he puts out a lot of videos. But they're really good, and I really like his style. I like the way when he goes through different albums and talks about them, especially when he does his retrospectives of groups. He's recently done one on Rush. He did one on Uriah Heep. It's been a while now since he did that one, but I really like that. But anyway, I really like Robert's channel. If you haven't subscribed, please go over and subscribe to his channel. I'm pretty sure you'll like it quite a bit. I know I really do. He's one of our Canadian brothers. Anyway, he wants us to name 5 albums that were influential or important to us as teenagers. So, a lot of us have done these kind of videos before as far as naming albums that, really got us into something that were very influential to us. The first album we got of this or that and yada and all that stuff. And I've noticed what I really tried to do was pick albums from my teenage years because there was a lot of influential music that I listened to, albums that I bought like when I was 11 and 12. Like I got my very first Kiss record during that time, my first Black Sabbath, my first Queen, my first Rush, ABBA, all different things like that. So I've tried, not using any of those albums, even though when I was a teen, I was still listening to them quite a bit. But these are ones I bought when I was actually a teenager. I think from 14 on during this time period. So anyway, let me get started. First one is Eat to the Beat by Blondie. I think this album was very important to me after I bought it because it was kind of a different style than maybe what I had been listening to. This was more of a new wave kind of thing. They got that New York coolness going on, had a little bit of punk added to their pop sound. Of course, I went back and bought some older Blondie records, but this one is fantastic. To this day, I love this album. It's fantastic. Clem Burke is so amazing, the drummer on this album. Debbie Harry sounds great, but the songs are just a nice mishmash of different styles. And it also really, is one of the albums that got me into listening to a lot of female singers also, and realizing hey, rock and roll is not just a male dominated style of music. Men and women are both in it, both equally do amazing jobs. And so Blondie, Eat to the Beat, very important album to me. Next, when this one came out, this was a blind buy for me. Actually, you can probably see why when you see that cover, British Steel by Judas Priest. Now, I picked this one because I think this also led me down a little bit of listening to some more heavy metal. This could basically be Black Sabbath, Mob Rules, or Iron Maiden Killers, just different albums that kind of led me into listening to some heavy metal also. And this is a wonderful album. Not my favorite Judas Priest album, but at the time I'd never heard them. It still stands up, still a fantastic album. I did my top 5 Judas Priest albums there a while back. You can go check that out, see where it stands. Next up, now I have mentioned this band before. But this one, Permanent Waves by Rush, was very important still in my teenage years, because I think, you know how like as you're each year or so, a few years, you kind of have a band that's your favorite band for a while maybe, and it might slightly change. I think this, by the time this came out, Rush was probably my favorite band. Right around then, this to me is the last perfect Rush album. I know a lot of people consider Moving Pictures Rush's greatest album. Once again, I did a top 5 Rush albums. If you want to go back and check that video, see how I feel about that. But this is such a great album. I was really into Rush, and this was just fell right in line. It's kind of a different change of pace. This is kind of the way I feel about this album is probably the way a lot of people talk about the Moving Pictures album. Jacob's Ladder is on here, one of my favorite Rush songs. It's fantastic, and this is just a great album. Next up, so now by the time I was a sophomore, that's, I think, when you start to go into some of the older bands. I know all these are old bands now, but when I was in high school, I think is when you start to say, you know what, I don't have to just listen to whatever the newest band is it's coming out, blah, blah, blah. I think you begin to appreciate things. You mature a little bit. And so when this album came out, Tattoo You by the Rolling Stones, it started my lifelong love of the Rolling Stones. This is a fantastic album. I remember hearing Start Me Up on the radio, and that beginning of that song, man, it's just that hook, and that crack of the drums, fantastic. And I love how they have it divided into one side is more the rocker, the second side is the slower songs, and honestly, I'm not sure which side is my favorite, because I love both of them. This still stands out. One of my favorite Rolling Stones albums. I know a lot of people aren't as crazy about this, because it's like a bunch of different songs from different eras kind of thrown together, some of it redone. But I think it works so well. Such a great album from 1981, Tattoo You. And then finally, one that, I really can't overstate the impact that this one had. Once again, going back into time, back to 1971, I picked up Led Zeppelin 4, like most music fans do. People who are actually serious about music, they start to go back and listen to older things. I bought this album, and because, you hear other people talking about Led Zeppelin and everything. You hear a song or two on the radio, got this, and of course, you can remember, if you can remember the first few times you heard this album. Now I know a lot of it may be overplayed, but wow, you can't overstate this album. How about when you got to listen to Black Dog for the first few times, and just how amazing just that song alone was. But then the different styles that are on this album, the mystery that goes along with it. It's like, wait a minute, it doesn't even say Led Zeppelin. What the hell is this? It's great, is what it is. John Bonham is just a beast on this album. Everything about this album. This is perfect, right? This is a 5-star album. I remember buying this and then thinking, man, this might be my favorite band now. And I went and I got Led Zeppelin 1, and I'm like, this is my favorite band now. So this was very influential, because after this, I had to get everything Led Zeppelin, and every member of the band became, my musical hero. So Led Zeppelin 4, very, very important in my musical growth as a teenager. So there you go, Robert. Video a little longer than what I wanted, but 5 albums that were very important to me as a teenager. So once again, go check out Robert's on My Turntable. Fantastic guy, fantastic channel. Sub him up if you haven't. Sub my channel up too. I could use some more subs as far as that goes. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'm Gary. This is Physical Format Rock and Roll. Till the next time, my friends, I will see you down the road.